Well, I want to introduce Jamie Dominguez. She's our speaker for tonight, and she's the National Director of Industry Relations at the Mechanical Licensing Collective. And if you don't know what that is, she's going to tell us. Um, and well, their mission is to ensure songwriters and music publishers receive their U.S. mechanical streaming royalties. And she represents the MLC at key industry events and conferences across the music ecosystem. And prior to that, she spent time 19 years at CSAC. Very well. That's an overseas music music licensing organization. And she was most recently the senior director of creative services, and later helped launch Sound Royalties New York presence. And she also went to school in Dallas. Jamie, where did you go to
Hey.
school in Dallas?
I went to well, I grew up in Dallas, but I went
Oh,
to the University of Texas in Austin. I graduated from college there. So
well,
so
congratulations.
yeah.
That's a good school.
Yes, it was I left Austin. I left Texas in 2001, and it Austin was a very different place then than it is now.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it's still great.
But it that's what happens. Yes, and I still love it even though it's different.
Well, they're still winning football games. That's what's
That's
important.
right.
Well, tell us more about the MLC. We had a speaker a couple of years ago that kind of clued some of us in about the importance of knowing what you guys do and try to get signed up and so forth. So maybe you can elucidate and encourage us to get more involved with the MLC.
Yes, that's the goal. So, have most of you heard of us before? I'm not sure how familiar. Okay,
Y'all
so
y'all started in 2018, right?
um, 2020. But yeah,
Okay.
but you're not wrong because in 2018 they passed the Music Modernization Act, which is
That's
why
what it
we
was.
why we were formed. Yeah, so 2018 they passed the Music Modernization Act, and actually I'm gonna share my screen because I do have some slides, and I'm not gonna go into all these slides are pretty. Can you all see my slides? Can you see
Yes.
my screen? Okay, perfect. Otto was good with the screen sharing, so um so yeah, I'm gonna just sort of go through the highlights of this because this is a pretty involved deck, but I just kind of want to go over the high points so you guys get the gist, and then you can ask me some questions. I want to leave plenty of time for some questions. Um, but yeah, so basically in 2018, the Music Modernization Act was passed, and this was very important legislation that was basically an amendment to the copyright laws, old copyright laws that hadn't been updated since 1929 or something like I can't I think that's the right date, but somewhere around there. So they hadn't been updated for the streaming era. So that is why you hear about a lot of the issues that were happening where there was this black box of money that wasn't getting paid out to the rights holders, which would be people like yourselves, the songwriters. Um, I'm assuming that most of you or a majority of you are independent, meaning you don't have a publisher, a publishing deal, or an administration deal. Does anybody here have an administration deal? Maybe just like raise your hand, or a publishing deal. Okay, so everybody here is self-administered. Just safe to say, right? Okay, beautiful. So this is very important for all of you. Um, so what the Music Modernization Act did was it basically created a blanket license for all of these new streaming platforms that were popping up. So that means Spotify, Apple Music, Tidal, SoundCloud. All of these platforms were songwriters, musicians, creators stream their music, where they distribute their music. And once that license was established, the US Copyright Office said, well, we need to have an organization, we need to have an entity that's going to sort of streamline this process. And We want this one organization to be responsible for administering all the licenses, making sure all of these streaming services are paying these licenses, and then also to make sure that the streaming services pay out the royalties to this organization, and then this organization would then distribute all of that money, the streaming royalties, to the rights holders like yourselves. So that's where the MLC came into play. The MLC was created out of this law. Um, so that's our job basically, is to administer this blanket license, make sure we collect all the royalties from the DSPs, the digital service providers, and then pay them out to all of you who have music streaming on these platforms and are getting streams. And every time they're being streamed, you should be getting paid a royalty, just like if your songs were playing on radio or television or any of these other places. So that's how we came about. So we've been around since 2018. I mean, I'm sorry, 2020. Sorry, I'm skipping ahead here. So yeah, before that happened, I mentioned the black box. This was because all of these Spotify, for instance, they would have to go out and find each individual creator, each individual rights holder to license, because you can't legally use music without having a license. You need permission, right? So this was the gray area for independent artists like yourselves, because the artists that were covered were basically the ones that were signed to major labels or to publishers. And so, they're doing direct deals with the labels, the major labels and the major publishers, but what does that mean for all of the independent artists? So they're not going to go out and find each and every one of you. So that's basically where all this money was just sitting in what they used to call the black box. So there was hundreds of millions of dollars in royalties that were just sitting there, not getting distributed to people like you. Um, so post MMA, after the Music Modernization Act, now we have the MLC in place. The MLC has we're also tasked with creating a database that houses all of the data that the DSPs, for all of the music that's being streamed on all of these platforms. So we have all of that data. We have all the rights holders' data. So, every single one of the works that are on being streamed on a platform like Spotify or like Apple Music, we have, the information for that music. So, if someone's looking to license your song on a movie or an ad, like they can come onto the MLC website and search our database for a song and see if the name of the writer comes up, or the co-writers, and or the publisher or the administrator, and they can get in touch with them there. Or if you're looking to sample something, you can search our database. So we have this tool to make everything more transparent, more accessible. And then now we're paying out all this money, but we still have to look for people like yourselves who may or may not know about us, who still need to get registered with us, and make sure all of their songs are being registered, and that we know who to pay. Once all of the information is reported to us by the DSPs, we need to know how to find you. So that's why I'm here today, is to share this information so you understand how it all works. So basically, we're in the middle. We're the only organization in the US that does this. So in order to collect any money, if I assume that a lot of you, most of you have music streaming on one of these platforms. So if you have music streaming, you have to be registered with the MLC in order to collect your mechanical streaming royalties. And I'll get into a little bit more about what that means, with the difference between, your mechanical royalties and your performance royalties. But we're the only organization that does this in the US, so it's really important that if you want to collect this money, that you are registered with the MLC. So the streaming services pay all of us. They send all of the royalty money to us, and then we distribute it to all of the rights holders. That would be you, the self-administered songwriters, or if you were to sign a publishing deal or administration deal, we would pay it to them, and then they would distribute it to you on, so they would collect on your behalf. So where do we fit in? Okay, so I'm just gonna do a quick little copyright 101. So if you are a songwriter, if you're a music creator, there are four possible ways that you can get paid from any digital streaming of your music. So if you're not familiar, I'm just going to go over this real quick. The difference between a musical work and sound recording in copyright law is very important. So the musical work, when they say musical work or song, they're referring to the composition, the lyrics, the melody, the underlying composition even before a song is recorded, okay? The notation, all of that is the musical work. Once that song is recorded, whether it's by you or another artist, that's the sound recording. Those are the masters. So those are two different areas of copyright law. Um, and sometimes, you are eligible for all four of these royalty streams that I'm about to go into, or sometimes just one or two, depending on what your role is, depending on if you're just the songwriter or if you're both the songwriter and the art and the recording artist. So if you're the songwriter and you are an owner of the musical work, meaning you wrote the lyrics or you wrote the melody, you are entitled to receive performance royalties and mechanical royalties for that work. If you also recorded the song, the composition, then you're also eligible to receive master royalties and performance royalties once these sound recordings are performed. So I'm going to show you this very handy digital landscape infographic that we created to kind of explain all of this in the most simple way we could, because this is very complicated. So I don't expect everybody to understand this right off the bat. But don't worry, at the end of this, there's a QR code that I'm going to share, and so you can download this and you can have it as a resource. But I'm just going to show you sort of how this, I'm going to walk you through it to explain how it all works. So you'll see on the left side, it says songs and musical works, and on the right side, it says sound recordings, okay? So those are the two variations of copyrights that we're talking about. Um, if you are the songwriter, the composer, on the musical work side, like I mentioned before, you're eligible to receive performance royalties and mechanical royalties. So, performance royalties are royalties that you receive whenever your songs are performed on the radio, on broadcast radio, television, live performances, any gigs that where your songs are performed in front of an audience. Those are all eligible for performance royalties. So those are paid to you by a performance rights organization or a PRO. And examples of those PROs in the US are ASCAP, BMI, CSAC, where I used to work. And you have to be registered with one of those organizations as a songwriter to get paid your performance royalties. So are most of you already, I'm hoping most of you are signed up with the PRO. If not, definitely have to do that. That's sort of step one to make sure you're getting paid. So they're gonna distribute all those performance royalties whenever your songs are performed, like in any of those capacities I just mentioned. Okay, mechanical royalties. So mechanical royalties, if you are the songwriter, you are also eligible to earn mechanical royalties. And before streaming, this is back in the day before streaming, this was considered, um, any physical reproduction of a musical work. So that would be a record, a cassette, a CD. All of these were Anytime those were sold, you would receive a mechanical royalty. The mechanical term comes from way back in the early days when they had piano rolls. That was where the word mechanical royalties came from. But now in the streaming era, after they passed the Music Modernization Act, now streaming is also considered a version of a mechanical royalty because now, people aren't really buying CDs or vinyl as much, but they're all streaming music. So you're entitled to receive mechanicals now through the MLC. So that's where we sort of fall into the picture. We are the organization now that was tasked with paying all the mechanical royalties for streaming specifically. Okay. Um, Now, once the song is recorded, and we're looking at the master side now, and whether it's by you yourself as the artist, or another artist covers your song, or you write a song for an artist, um, you're also entitled to receive master royalties. So that would get paid through the record label, or if you're an independent artist, if you're self-released, you would get all of that money directly to you. From, whoever you use as a distributor will pay you those master royalties. And then you're also entitled to receive sound exchange money. So sound exchange pays performance royalties for digital performances, but it's different than your PRO because they're actually paying the performers, not the songwriters, but the performers on a sound recording. So if you're playing guitar on a track or you're a background singer, you are entitled to receive performance royalties on the sound recording that you performed on from Sound Exchange. So it's very important that everybody's registered for Sound Exchange as well. So the basic thing that you need to know from this infographic is that you need to be registered with three different organizations: your PRO, ASCAP, BMI, CSAC, whichever flavor you choose, the ML that, and they're going to pay you performance royalties as a songwriter. The MLC, we're going to pay you mechanical royalties as a songwriter, and Sound Exchange. Sound Exchange is going to pay you if you are the performer on a sound recording, or whether you're the songwriter or not, it doesn't really matter in this case. But if you're the performer, you need to be registered with Sound Exchange. And a majority of people, 99.9% of people have played on a sound recording, if they're a songwriter as well. So these are the four different ways you can make revenue through your music if you're a songwriter, and if you're, a musician playing on a recording or singing. Um, so that's kind of the landscape. It's, like I said, the basic thing you need to know is the three organizations: your PRO, MLC, and Sound Exchange. Okay, so this is the QR code that you can scan specifically for that graphic that I just shared with you. And I also have another one that comes later with a little bit with this and a few other resources. So you can also wait till the end when I get to that QR code. But if you want to scan this now, feel free. This is also available on our website. So there's tons of ways to access it. People really love that graphic because it's very helpful to kind of understand how it all works. Okay, so how to get started. The MLC is a nonprofit organization. So this is a beautiful thing because we are a very rare, actually, we're the only one of its kind that exists. There is no nonprofit organization that exists in the music ecosystem that is paying you 100% of your royalties. That was part of the U.S. Copyright Office's mandate when we were created. They wanted us to be a nonprofit. All of the streaming all of them, Spotify, Apple Music, Tidal, all of these streaming services, they pay our operating costs. So that allows us to not take any administration fees out of your royalties. So there's really no reason not to join. We're not charging anything to join. It's completely free. And like I said, we're paying out 100% of the royalties that we collect on behalf of our members. So really important. This legislation is kind of game changing for the music industry, and we want everybody to take advantage of it. Okay, so basically what you're going to do is you're going to sign up. If you haven't done this already, really important. You sign up, you set up an account in our portal. It's going to ask you some qualifying questions. It's going to, because if you are a publisher or administrator, you also would become a member of the MLC because you're collecting on behalf of your clients. But all of you, for the most part, are independent and don't have a publisher or an administrator collecting on your behalf. So you would need to become direct members of the MLC. So it's going to just ask you some qualifying questions. And then we have two different ways to access the information. What pertains to you all is the actual member hub because you all need to become direct members. The Songwriter Hub is for people who have publishing deals. So we're going to kind of ignore that for now. I just want all of you to understand that the member hub is where you'll be managing your catalog once you become a member of the MLC, and it allows you to register all of your songs. It allows you to manage your catalog, update all your information, look at your royalty statements, all of that. We have a variety of tools. I'm not going to get too in the weeds um, on this stuff because it gets a little bit complicated, and I don't want to lose you. I want to leave some time for questions. But basically, the tools that we're looking at on the member hub side, right here, um, you can search our database to see if any of your songs already appear in the database. So I'll give you a scenario where this would happen. Say you have a co-writer. They may already be a member of the MLC. They may have already registered a song you wrote together. So it might already be in our system, or perhaps it came out on a record label. The record label or the publisher for that label may have already registered the song on your behalf. But what's important is once you become a member, even if those songs appear in our database when you search for it, you could just search your name and things might pop up, right? So it's important that you claim your share of the song. So, your co-writer may have already claimed their share, but let's just say you split it 50-50. The other 50% might be unclaimed because you haven't you just registered as a member. So you would have to claim your share of the songs. So that's what that means. The claiming tool helps you do that. If there are songs that are not in our database already, then you would have to register them like a new work. Um, and then if you see something in our database that's incorrect, maybe somebody, claim maybe they overclaimed a share, you can flag that and we'll try to resolve that. So, yeah, so those are some of the tools that are accessible once you become a member, and it's once you're in once you're in the hub, you can once you're in the portal, it becomes a little bit clearer. It's harder for me to explain it if you're not in there yet, but I'm just kind of giving you an overview of what you'll see. Um, so the public search tool is accessible to everybody. You could go after this meeting if you guys wanted to go into the public search database and search your name and see what pops up, or search your artist name, or search for one of your songs. You could see if it's in there. So you could just play around with that. It's kind of fun to see what's in there. Um, and then, like I said, it's free. Everything that we provide is free of charge. Again, we're a nonprofit. So far in the 5 years that we've been around, we have distributed over $3.5 billion in streaming royalties. So actually, it's more than that now. It's closer to 4 billion. So make sure that you're getting paid. There's no reason not to join. Um, and just some little fun facts here. Like I said, 3.9 over $3.9 billion in royalties that we've distributed so far. Um, Matching 92.3% of royalties processed. So what that means is all of the royalties that the DSPs are reporting to us, we're matching 92.3% of that. That's a great average actually. That means we're paying out 92.3% of those royalties. The rest of that money, that hasn't been distributed, it's because those people we either can't find the rights holders or they're not registered yet. If you're in that tail of people that we haven't covered, then please, please, please register. We have about 90,000 members so far. Our database has over 55 million works registered. And yeah, we're here for you. So this is like, we're building this together, and we really want all of the songwriters, me and the team, we're out here educating the community because it's really important to understand all of this stuff and how it works, and all of you are entitled to collect this money. And I think we all know that the music industry is not easy to navigate, and all the things I just said it seems very complicated. So I understand that it becomes overwhelming, but we are full of resources, and we're here to help. So please, please, please join. If you haven't already, get signed up. Um, on our website, you'll find a lot of resources that you can videos. We have a YouTube channel too with a lot of explainer videos to kind of educate yourself. That's also something else that the U.S. Copyright Office tasked us with, was to provide a lot of educational resources and to make sure we're out in the creator community, sharing the information and making sure you understand how to make a living. Okay, so this is the other QR code I was talking about. I highly recommend you download this one. It has a few resources in there. There's a really quick 60-second explainer video about the MLC. There's a checklist of things that you need to do as a songwriter to make sure you're getting all of your business in order. We have a template for a split sheet. So if you're in the studio co-writing with some folks, it can help you make sure you get all of your splits and publishing information worked out so that you can get the songs registered and get paid. And then there's also a link to that digital info landscape music infographic that I shared earlier, and a few more things. Ro was adding to it, so always great to check out that link, and it's a great resource. And please share it with anybody that you're working with, any of your collaborators. We have an incredible support team. They are awesome. They will, if you run into any issues, if you have questions, they will help you. You will actually get a human on the phone, or if you prefer to email or you prefer to chat, it's an actual human. It's not a bot, and they will spend time with you. They will walk you through as long as they need to, till you sort out what you need to sort out. So, I highly recommend, engaging with them if you run into any questions along the way. We're known to have the best support team. So, I would just say, if give them they have a pretty large quantity of people reaching out to them, and they do spend a lot of time with each of them. So if they don't get back to you right away, don't worry, they will. It might take a couple days, but there's depending on the backlog, but they will get back to you. And then you can connect with us on all the social media outlets. There's, we have an Instagram, we have X, Facebook, YouTube channel. These are all great ways to keep up with us because we are always doing things like this. We do webinars that you can register for. We do Instagram lives. We do a lot of in-person events. If we're coming to Dallas, you can find out about it that way. So yeah, I think that might be the end of it. Yeah, that's it. So I just threw a lot of information out. But I do want to give you guys a few minutes. If there are any questions, I'm happy to answer them. Um, yeah.
Given that titles are not copyrightable and they're duplicated in a lot of songs, how do you keep track? Do we upload a recording of the song, or how do you keep track of which generic title goes to which artist?
So, that's a great question. So all of the metadata that we receive is whatever information that you upload to your distributor.
Okay.
So whichever distribution platform you're using, that distributor then sends all of that information to the streaming service, and then that's the information, the metadata that we receive from the streaming service. So
Ah,
that's a great question because I cannot stress the importance of having accurate metadata. Like I'm sure you've heard people use the word metadata over and over
mhm.
and over again, but if you want to make sure that you're credited correctly, that when you're uploading your music onto any distribution platform, make sure it's correct. Make sure that you have your IPI number. If there's one of those identifiers that you memorize or that you know for sure, make sure it's your IPI number because your IPI number is like your social security number, basically, in the songwriting world. Because there's a million and one John Smiths, but
Right.
your IPI number is your unique identifier in this world, right? So,
Is that
um,
assigned by you or?
no, your PRO will assign you an IPI number.
Ah, okay.
Or if you are, yeah, usually it's your PRO, but if you once you're uploading a song on the master side, you'll get an IPI number as well.
Okay. Excellent.
RIAA or not the RIAA, but you know what I'm saying. One of those,
Right.
they'll give you that information. So yeah, there's like the ISRC code, which is the unique identifier for the sound recording, and then the IPI number is your songwriter unique identifier. Yeah, so please make sure, and this is another thing, like, once you register songs, you always want to make sure, you always want to go back and double check everything, because that is the way that everything is going to get traced back to you. That's the only way.
Okay. Excellent. Thank you.
Sure.
Where does I've got songs on DistroKid, um, and I get a few little bit tiny stream of money from that. Where does that fit in here?
Okay. So DistroKid is your distributor. Um, DistroKid also, you can opt into publishing administration services as well, I believe. Do you know if you opted into that or not?
I don't recall that I did.
Okay. So if you didn't, then they're strictly acting as your distributor. So you would receive any master royalties from DistroKid. So on the master side, on the sound recording side, um, any royalties you receive on that end would come directly from DistroKid if you don't have a record label. If you're self-released, DistroKid's going to pay your master royalties.
So if I sign up through MLC, I would receive additional.
Yes. So the MLC is paying you mechanical royalties as a songwriter for the composition, for the musical work. So before it's even recorded, we're paying you for the underlying composition, the song.
Okay, and what? Just to clarify, what's DistroKid paying me if I'm
For the sound recording, the actual
Okay.
sound recording. So for instance, if someone takes the song you wrote and records it, you are also entitled to master royalties on that song that was recorded by another artist. And that would come through DistroKid as well.
Okay.
Does that make
But
sense? So it's on the
sort
sound,
of.
that's on the sound recording side.
Yeah.
So you have the song, the musical work, the composition, the underlying composition, and then you have the sound recording. So those are two different sides of the copyright. As a songwriter, if you're both, then you would get paid both the mechanical royalties from the MLC on the publishing side, but you would also get paid on the master side, on the sound recording side, for the actual sound recording of that song that you wrote.
So what if the person that copied your song or did a cover of your song isn't with DistroKid? How
That's
do you
okay.
get?
That's okay because wherever that song is being performed, you are being credited as the songwriter. You're the songwriter. You have publishing on that song.
Mhm.
So that's sort of like the concept of publishing, right? So anybody can re-record your song over and over. Bob Dylan, everybody, anytime someone covers his song, he's getting paid.
Okay.
He's
So
getting
if
paid
you
for
have
performance
two
royalties.
distributors, do you get this service from both distributors and that you don't have to figure out who's doing what? You have distributors that are doing something with these songs and you have some that are doing it with these songs.
Yeah, so each distributor is going to pay you for whichever songs are in your catalog that they are
That they're in
distributing.
charge of. Okay.
Yeah. On the and I'm just going to clarify that's just on the master side, on the sound recording side.
Right.
Anything that's streaming, for instance, if those songs from, say you have DistroKid and you also use CD Baby and you use TuneCore. Those are three different distributors, right?
Right.
So regardless of the distributor, you're going to get paid from your performance rights organization, from your PRO. Say your PRO is BMI. They're
Mhm.
going to pay you no matter what, no matter which distribution service you're using. They're paying you performance royalties, okay?
Okay.
So, and the MLC as well. No matter which distribution platform you're using, we're going to pay you the streaming for mechanical royalties on those songs.
So can
But
you
the
download your catalog into MLC from your BMI account?
No, you cannot. They don't work
Will
in
you fix
tandem.
that, please?
We wish we could. Yeah, there's no way around that at the moment. That's a bigger problem. Not problem, I should say, but yeah,
Undertaking.
yes, that's a whole other undertaking. This one undertaking right now is large enough. But we might get to that eventually. Yeah, the reason why right now is because this is we were formed out of legislation, and this is specific to that legislation. This is our jurisdiction, is to pay the streaming royalties. So it's its own thing.
I first of all thank you for speaking with us. I am a huge fan of the MLC. I've been following that legislation as it went through Congress and the House, and I was even more excited that it was a unanimous vote that put it through. That made me so happy because it's the greatest change in the industry since Bill Clinton doing his stuff in the 90s, extending copyright law and making sure that older artists can continue to get paid for their work without them being at risk of getting their rights bought. Um, this I remember there being like there's a lot of particular language about what stuff y'all covered. Does this include digital album sales and Pandora plays? Things like internet radio?
That's a great question. Okay, so for yes, we are covering Pandora as well. It's interactive and non-interactive. So when they say interactive, just so everybody understands, interactive is music that you know you can control what you listen to. So Spotify is an example of interactive streaming. Non-interactive is what he was referring to, like a Pandora, where it's more of a radio station where you're not controlling. It's digital radio in essence, like a Sirius XM or something like that, where it's already programmed. So we are covering all of those varieties on the mechanical side.
Okay. This and I know Pandora is, I don't know, to me it seems a little bit more formal than something like to put it in context for Dallas, knownow.org is online radio as opposed to KNON on FM radio. That KNON now, those royalties would go through the MLC, right?
Yeah, yes. So the royalties, specifically what goes through the MLC is always mechanical royalties. So on the performance side, it's still going to go through your PRO.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
But anything
digital
that's
out.
streaming should be, as long as theoretically, as long as they're paying a license, as long as they're licensed, then we would be collecting that money and paying it out to you.
Awesome.
Are they paying a license though?
I'm most likely they are. I'm fairly certain they would be,
Set
but
up nonprofit, so I'm not sure if they have to or not.
I can definitely get the answer for that, and report back.
So on radio plays on before we had all the streaming, and like if there were things playing on KON, how far back do you look to see those plays, and how would that even happen?
Okay, great question. So for all of the streaming services, like, let's look at Spotify right now. Anything from 2007 to 2020, we're going back in paying out those historical royalties. So if you had music streaming that was reported to us in that data set between 2007 and 2020, we can still pay those out to you, but it's not going to last forever. There's an end to this, because what's going to happen is eventually, and this is how it works across the industry. Basically, we can't hold money forever. So we've extended it because we're brand new. We want to make sure everyone has the opportunity to claim their money. But it's now been almost 6 years. So what's going to happen is we'll redistribute whatever's left over amongst our members by pro rata per song. So right now, if you haven't registered with us already, you do have the opportunity to go back to 2007 and collect any earnings that you might have missed.
Not quite far enough back for me, I'm afraid.
Yeah, 2000. Well, this is only for streaming. So 2007 is roughly the time when streaming became the main way people were consuming music. So that's why it starts in 2007. Before that, it wasn't. People weren't heavily streaming music.
But if it was just radio play, then you don't go back further.
Oh no, we don't cover radio play.
Okay, all right.
Yeah. Radio play would be your PRO, ASCAP, BMI.
I got you.
Do you cover international plays? I have a blues band that I work with, and I'm a recording engineer for many of their albums, and I know they're very big hits in Europe and South America. But I don't do y'all do the like what you collect, does it also come from plays that happen outside the country on streaming?
No, that's a great question. We're only authorized to pay for US streams since we're
Hmm.
based on US law. So
Yeah, makes sense.
anything outside and international territories, that would usually come through, depending on the territory, a lot of that money comes through your PRO.
Hmm.
But it also depends on the country. But most of those countries you mentioned, I'm almost certain that that money's gonna go through your PRO. It just might take a long time because, by the time all that stuff gets
Yeah.
processed and the administration, and also every territory has their own schedule. So sometimes they only report once a year, and it's for certain countries. And so there's all these factors that come into play. But the short answer is no, we do not pay for international earnings. But that also I should add that if you're collaborating with any foreign songwriters, if they have music streaming on US platforms, we will still pay them. So we
Okay.
pay internationally. We pay creators that are based in other countries, if they as long as they have songs being streamed on US platforms.
Would Spotify be considered a US platform?
Yes,
Or,
yes.
okay, so it's not just, let's say I open up
But there's
Spotify on
Spotify
my
US, but
phone.
of course Spotify also has other versions that are specific to certain countries. But
Okay.
Spotify US is of course the largest, most,
Yeah, I know some of
utilized.
these rights like get weird the minute you leave the borders, like in
Yeah,
Ireland or Spain. Like there are different laws over there,
correct. Yeah,
as well as Brazil and further south, all that jazz.
that's right.
Feel like I interrupted somebody.
Yeah, and you guys, like I said before, we have so much information on our website. So if you're just bored one day and want to peruse around, there's a ton of things to learn, and we have a lot of videos. There's all of our old webinars are on our YouTube channel. So if you just want to go back and watch some of those, we have a plethora of things. So. Um, yeah, anything we didn't, if there's a question that you think of later and you might not, you can always also, we have a search engine on our website that you could probably find the answer somewhere on our website. So,
I have one last question. I'm so
yeah.
sorry. I
No,
keep
you're
cutting
good.
people off.
No, it's okay.
Um, so myself and the drivers, Patty and Thomas, who are both on this chat, we work with a lot of budding songwriters who are under the age of 17 for the most part, and some who are going on to college. And many of them are starting to put their songs up online for streaming, for internet radio, and they're really like making some traction. Is there a minimum age to that they need to be to sign themselves up or start getting payouts for their own songs and works?
Yeah, that's a great question. I believe it was 15. The
Okay.
last time I checked, but again, don't quote me on that. You can probably find it on our website, but the last time I checked, it was 15. I don't know if they changed it since the last time, but
So
yeah,
like 15 or 16, they can get on, register themselves with the MLC and start being able to wrap their heads around what the
yes,
music industry is today.
definitely. And we
Awesome.
also have we have these great micro courses online that you can take. So it's like our little version of an online, you know, online course about the MLC. So we have one that's just for the general, all creators, and then we have one specific to student, like a more student level course. So
Okay.
yeah, so if you search micro course under our educational tools, you'll find it there. But that's a great thing, if you want to share that with those young writers, it would be awesome. Because we cover kind of like what I did today, like we get into the copyright, what copyright 101, the difference between a composition and a song and a musical work and a sound recording and publishing and all of that stuff. Because in order to understand the MLC, you have to have sort of a high level understanding of all that stuff too. So yeah, I would highly recommend the micro courses for them. And for all of you. I mean, I took the regular micro course. It's good. It's really great information.
So I've been a member for 2 years next month, and I haven't put a song up yet because it's just like BMI itself was just so intimidating and takes so long, and it's just like my least favorite thing next to cleaning a toilet, you know?
I get it. I get it.
I mean, it's just really like, oh no, what have I done? I've signed up for something that I have to do this again. So I don't know if there's like some words of wisdom about a little helpmate on your site that's going to just talk me through the first one so I can get over this hurdle.
I would highly recommend reaching out to our support team.
Okay.
And they will hold your hand through, the first few until you get comfortable,
Mhm.
and then just get it done. Just get it out of the way.
Yeah.
It's like cleaning your house, right? Like you just got to get it done so you can enjoy the rest of your weekend. Don't put it off until Sunday at 7 p.m. and you're like, oh, why did I do that? So yeah, I would highly recommend just get it done. Also, you know what else? I always tell people to do this. I always say get a group of songwriter friends together and do it together, Bring some wine and some beer and just like everybody brings some, like whatever your pleasure is, like just get together, do it, and it makes it a lot more fun and doable when you
Make
have.
it a party.
Yeah, exactly. It's like just handle your business night.
Huh? Sounds good. Thank you.
You're welcome. Well, I really appreciate y'all having me, and anything that you need, I'm on all the social media, well, not all the social, I'm on Instagram and LinkedIn, but we have so much information, so please, I really recommend get registered as soon as you can if you haven't already, and take advantage of our support team because they really are awesome. They're so helpful, and they will help, they'll make it a lot better. Once you're in there, you have any questions, you do have support.
Well, that's great. Thank you so much, Jamie.
Yes,
We've got a
very
lot
good.
out of this. I'm
That's a
sure
fabulous program.
many
I
of us
hope
are
it
gonna
was,
start
I hope
Yes.
it was, I'm so glad. I hope it was beneficial, and I love talking to my Dallasites. It makes me miss home.
Well, thank you so much. I understand you can't stick around for we're going to have song critiques next. We're going to listen to some songs.
Oh, I wish I have to run to a show, so
Have a
that's
good
why I'm in
evening. Thank you.
Boston. But thank you all so much. Have a wonderful night.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.